Welcome, you gorgeous people, to another movie review. Today I will be reviewing Battle of the Sexes. Battle of the Sexes is a 2017 American biographical sports comedy drama film directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, and written by Simon Beaufoy. The plot is loosely based on the 1973 tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. I have walked away from this film with some very conflicting feelings towards it. On one hand, I praise Emma Stone and Steve Carell's performances in this film, as not only did they do great work delivering their characters, but also doing their best to look as much like the people they are portraying. There was a very clear successful attempt to make this film rich in 70s style, from the fashion to the hair to the cars, even small details such as suitcases. My favorite detail was the tennis rackets. You can't make a film about tennis players in the 70s without those rackets. Every member of my family, going back to my grandparents, has played tennis, and growing up we still had those old school rackets laying around the house, so seeing them again on the screen made me feel very nostalgic, even though I wasn't alive to see them being used. This film has a great many pros. Cinematography is enjoyable, though I think that sometimes the work on the film was too clean. When we see shots of a character watching something on the TV, the clarity and picture quality is damn near HD level, and that was not believable. I felt we could have been immersed into the 70s even further if in those moments they had given the screens that classic 70s television quality. It would have given it just a touch more authenticity and would have amped up the entire film overall. As small as that is, sometimes it's the small details that can make all the difference. Pacing is good, but plot layout is where things fall apart for me. Right off the bat, we are introduced to the world of professional tennis, which is great. Instantly, you know what the topic of the film is, no guesswork needed. We then move into the inequality between the genders and the women taking a stand. Again, great. We now understand the basis for the plot and the title, and we know what the film is trying to do. Then it stops, and this is where my issues with the film begins. The film takes a very long detour away from the subject of gender inequality in professional tennis to solely focus on Billie Jean King discovering her homosexuality and starting an affair with her hairdresser, who in reality was actually her secretary. This goes on for quite a while and is the central focus for almost half of the film, and is still strongly present during the second half of the film. While I understand they were trying to give insight into the character of Billie Jean King, this was not the way to do it. It completely took over to the point where you think this is a biographical film about her life and her sexuality, and it's not meant to be that. On the flip side, we see Bobby Riggs and we get an insight to his personal life, enough to understand the character, but it never pulls focus and it never takes away from the main plot of the film. So I ask myself, why was this film so much more interested in King's sexual awakening than the subject of gender equality, which it claims to be about? While all of this is going on, I am getting annoyed because I am feeling that I am not getting the film that I was promised. I came to watch a Battle of the Sexes, not a lesbian love story. If that's what I was after, I could have gone and selected from hundreds of films that have that plot. When the film finally decides to focus on the match between Riggs and King and the lead up to it, things get far more interesting because this storyline isn't just about two people. We see as it is going on, there are thousands, if not millions of people equally invested in this match and its outcome. This main story is fascinating, it's engaging, and had they focused entirely on that as a whole, the film could have felt that way, not just bits and pieces. Another issue I had with this film is Margaret Court, played by Jessica McNamee. Firstly, thank you for casting an Australian to play an Australian, because it seems the only way to get an authentic Aussie accent. Secondly, an Australian I am very familiar with, Margaret Court. While I admire her achievements in sports, I am not a fan of her as a person due to her very vocal critique of the LGBTQ community and their rights. In that she believes they don't deserve rights, and having founded Margaret Court Ministries, she has made sure members of the LGBTQ community are not welcome. Here's the problem. Margaret Court, as much as I dislike her, wasn't all that vocal about her stance towards the gay community until approximately the 90s. The 70s wasn't really a time where most straight members of society were familiar with anything gay, and if they were, they weren't actively looking for it. Court herself in the 70s was very determined and focused. Her focus was on tennis, which paid off, or she wouldn't have been as successful as she was. Her focus was also on being a wife and mother. So the fact this film has taken current day Margaret Court and inserted her into the place of 70s Margaret Court just to utilize her as a villain against Billie Jean King for her lesbianism for the sake of a movie, I found was, for lack of a better term, a load of crap. In one scene, the camera pans over to show Court watching King and Barnett talking as she looks on with strong disapproval. This makes no sense and holds no purpose in the film because A, the two characters weren't in a relationship at this point, B, who gets suspicious of someone saying hello, and C, why would she even care that two women are having a very open discussion in front of a group of people, especially at an all-women's tennis event? As a viewer, all these calculated moves come off less as good storytelling and far more like pushing an agenda. They tried to create a villain in Court when the villain should have been gender inequality, something that affected both women, but instead they created a narrative that essentially pits them against each other. They may very well have also been using this to show how not okay society was with anything gay, but again, it's not necessary because this isn't the story we should have been focusing on. But ultimately, the film, for reasons I can't figure out, wanted to put more attention into King's lesbianism, even feeling the need to bring it up in written narratives at the end of the film. They could have stuck to just talking about her tennis career, but they focused on her personal life. Moreover, for a comedy drama, it wasn't very funny. At the end of the day, the things I enjoyed about this film, I really enjoyed. I thought they were terrific and incredibly well done. I just wish they had been focused on more. I was getting two different stories and one of them was being fabricated for entertainment value. This film could have been better than it was. It had a great concept, it just needed better execution. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, then please subscribe to this channel and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this film. Until next time, bye.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Anything you can be, I can be greater. Sooner or later, I'm greater than you.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.